We are working on sentence. A sentence, writing a sentence correctly with the capital letter, ending with the full stop. We are working on that. Okay, now, we may have a group of words that make sense, but sometimes it does not make a complete sense. Now, you look at it. I'll write it here. As I read, just read for yourself and see what's happening here. Okay? Look at all this correctly. At daybreak. Now, as I told you, a sentence is a group of words that make sense. But here, here also you have group of words at daybreak, in the corner, whatever, at home. You may have a group of words like this. Huh? It makes sense, a little bit of sense, but not a complete sense. We are talking about a sentence that make a complete sense. It's only a group of words that says something. It does make sense. When I say across the road, it means something there. When I say at daybreak, during the day, it doesn't make complete sense. But we are talking about a sentence, group of words that makes a complete sense with a capital letter and full stop. Now, shall we turn this group of words that makes an incomplete sense to complete sense? Okay? So we'll write down sentences so that you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Now, let's take the first one, at home. Okay? Now, Sam was at home when Dad arrived. When Sam was at home when Dad arrived. We used at home. The word at home by itself makes sense, but we making a complete sentence. Who was at home? Sam was at home when Dad arrived. We ended that with a full stop. We started with a capital letter, and we use this group of words which does make sense into a complete sense by creating a complete sentence. You understood now? Sam was at home when Dad arrived. What is the next one we have there? In a corner. Okay? In a corner. Dad left the umbrella in a corner. In a corner. Okay? So we use the full stop, cap letter. In a corner, it makes sense. In a corner, in that corner, there's something there, or nobody is there, or somebody is standing, or you kept a pile of book, anything. Here I said, in a corner. What is in a corner? Umbrella. Dad left the umbrella in a corner. In a corner by itself makes sense, but not a complete sense. So you add few more words to begin the sentence with a capital letter, end with the with the full stop. Okay. What is the next group of words we have? Under the table. Okay. Under the table. The cat sat. The cat sat under the table. And we end with the full stop. We begin with the capital letter. Under the table makes sense, but not complete. So we say, the cat sat under the table, begins with the capital letter, ends with the full stop. What is the next group of word we have? Across the road. Across the road. The boy ran. The boy, capital letter, the boy ran across the road. Ran across the road, full stop, we end with the full stop. Across the road makes sense. Across the road, yes. My house is across the road. Or the boy ran across the road. We begin the sentence with the full stop. We provided the boy ran. The boy ran across the road, ending with the full stop. So the group of words which did not make sense, here we have made a complete sentence. The sentence is complete. The next we have at daybreak. Peter came home at daybreak. At daybreak. At daybreak means very early in the morning. It makes sense at daybreak. But we have supplied few words to make complete sentence. Peter came home at daybreak. We end with the full stop. The next group of words we have here is during the day. During the day. Maria studies during the day. Or you can say, Mommy cooks during the day. Mommy cleans the house during the day. Now, during the day makes a sense, but not a complete sense. So we add on Maria. Maria studies during the day, ending with the full stop. So we have a group of words at home, in a corner, under the table, across the road, at daybreak, during the day. All these are groups of words that does not make complete sense, and we use it in the sentence for you to understand that although across the road does say something, so we change that into words, into correct sentences. Now, I need to talk about this. At home, in a corner, across the road, at daybreak, during the day, all these incomplete words, group of words, we call them phrases. What are they called? We call them phrases. So these are groups of words that make sense and we call them phrases. Now what we have done, you and I, together, using the phrases and made complete sentences. Now you know how to turn the phrases into proper, complete sentences. Now we'll do some more exercise for you to understand. Now, you also need to look at these at daybreak, during the day, in a corner, at home. If you look at these, it does not have a verb. What is verb? A word that does some action. When you say at daybreak, beginning of the day, what happened? Where is the verb? No verb. Now, in a phrase, there is no word, no one doing an action. The verb, a doing word, is the important part of a sentence. Now, let's take the first one. At home. It has no verb. Now, so we have put in verb here. Sam was at home when dad arrived. Now, at home It has no verb. Now look at, let's find out the verb. Sam was at home. Who was at home? Was. Sam was. Sam is the, what to say, Sam is the most important person here. He's at home. Was. Verb. We supplied the verb was. He's there in the house. Okay. So now we are adding. Now let's say second, in a corner. In a corner. In a corner. Where is the verb? Dad left the umbrella. Left. Leaving. Keeping. Something is happening. So verb. Now under the table. Sat. Who sat under the table? Cat. Across the road. What is the boy doing? Ran. So we are supplying verbs. Ran. Sat. Left. Was. Now, at daybreak. Came. Who came? Peter. During the day. What does she do? Studies. Maria studies. Supply. To these phrases, we supply a verb. Doing word. Okay? So, group of words like these are called phrases. So, a sentence has to have a verb. But a sentence has a verb, but the phrase doesn't have a verb. The phrase doesn't have a verb. A sentence has a verb. That's what we saw. Now, these are group of words that does make sense, but not a complete sense. The phrase doesn't have a verb. We have used the phrases here. What are the phrases? At home, in a corner, under the table, across the road, at daybreak, during the day. We have used those phrases which have no verb. We have supplied the verbs to make a complete sense. And that's what we have done. What have we done? Using the phrases in a complete sense. Phrase, remember, phrase doesn't have a verb. We have to supply a verb and make a sentence.